episode 3 of my travel around America, the quest to see America. It was a quest that I had since I was a kid, and now I'm fulfilling it. And in this episode, we're going to be visiting 3 states and 3 meaderies. Mead is a particular passion of mine. If you're not familiar with it, it's a wine that's made from honey. I used to raise bees, and I used to take that honey and make mead out of it. And I'll show you a little bit here. But the 3 states we visit are Maine, New Hampshire, and New York. But let's first talk a little bit about mead. I think there's a certain, and if you've been following along with my vlog or podcast here, you know that I'm real big on like hands-on stuff. And I love to make mead. It's really easy to make. You know, simple, very simple alcoholic beverage. It's a wine, and you can make it in a lot of different ways. And you see here in this video, I've made it with a lot of different things: peaches and plums and pineapples and all kinds of different things. So, you know, I do love that, and I do have tutorials on how to make mead. But I think, you know, one of the beautiful things about it is it's the connection with life and with the earth. As funny as it sounds, I spent a couple of years living in Europe. And when it comes to drinks, you know, the Europeans have a very different sensibility than Americans have when it comes to alcohol. You know, here in Europe, it's a cultural thing. Families will gather together and have wine on a regular basis in the evenings. And here in America, it's more of a, I hate to say it, but it's more of a marketing thing, you know, where we consume mass quantities of alcohols, beers. I can only imagine how much beer we drink in America, you know, but so it's more, we've been subjected to too much marketing when it comes to alcohol. It's become a different thing than what it was meant to be. It's meant to be a gift to us as humans. You know, Benjamin Franklin said, you know, beer is proof positive that God loves us. Now, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, I guess, but, you know, a glass of wine, a glass of mead with friends and family, you know, does have an effect on your relaxation and your perception of life, of relaxing and slowing down. So we're going to visit 3 meaderies, and here, those videos of me making meads. We're going to visit 3 meaderies, one in here in Portland, and I think I talked about this one first in the last travel quest to see America video. Maine Mead Works. And seeing as I'm driving, I stopped at these places. I didn't drink any mead, even a little bit, not even a glass, but no, I did purchase it and bring it back to my motel here. So I had some mead on that night with the pizza. So, and that's from the Maine Mead Works in Portland, Maine. I almost said Portland, Oregon. But next I went to New Hampshire. You know, it's wonderful to be on the road. All my life, I never really liked to drive. I wasn't a driver. I'm not a car guy. I really wasn't interested in cars or driving. Some people love it, you know, but not me. But I got to tell you, on my adventure around America, which ended up to be, when I finished it all, 20,474 miles, because I visited all 48 states. You know, I ended up to love driving. So that's important. I think that was a significant change I made. And, you know, I'm doing this semi-chronologically, but I have to jump around a little bit because I also visited some castles in these New England states, and I'll be showing you some of those in the next video. But here, now we're in New Hampshire. I'm visiting a place called Moonlight Meadery. They've been around a long time. In terms of mead, they've been around a long time. And they have a wonderful selection of different meads in this smaller 375-liter bottle. See them? I guess you could call them dessert meads. They tend to be richer. But the same thing applies. I bought myself some and brought them back to my motel and enjoyed them later. Another motel. This was on the next day. So if it's, you know, for me, it's mead. For you, it might not be mead. It might be something else. But whatever it is that gives you passion, then I say go for it. I ran across a quote. It's in Brazilian Portuguese, which I don't speak, and I can't quote it in Brazilian Portuguese. But it goes like this in English. It says, "Go. And if you are scared, then go scared." Isn't that wonderful? If you want to do some kind of an adventure, to try something new, a new career, a travel, a trip, or something, to do something different, you're going to be afraid. You're going to be scared. That's okay. Do it scared, but still do it, So I like that quote a lot. So here's a toast to you for listening to my audio, my podcast and my vlog here. Thank you. A little bit of mead. And then we move on to the third place in New York. And I got a couple of things I want to say about New York. And we're going to spend some more time in New York. There's a lot there in the state of New York, like the museum, which I love. But I did want to say, even though I'm a New Englander, and not that far from New York, I have the same impression I would imagine that a lot of people all over the world have about New York. You think about New York, and you think about New York City. The Empire State Building. And this is what you think of: traffic jams and the bridges and, the Brooklyn Bridge and the Longfellow, no, that's Boston. But, the skyscrapers and the hustle and the bustle. And, that's all true. I mean, that's New York City. But there's a difference in terms of New York State. New York State is a pretty big state in terms of New England states. But the state itself has a distinct different flavor than the city. And all the movies of Brooklyn and, I guess you could say New Jersey and, Queens and, New York City and all of this. There's been so much about all of that in the movies and writing and YouTube videos and all kinds of stuff. But the state itself is very different. I'm going to show you a little bit about what I mean. I mean that, and here's another little bit of New York City. I think in this video, I was heading to the museum. So there is some beautiful parts. We might be near, this might be alongside Central Park. I think that's what this is. So, there's some nature, and Central Park is amazing. It's a very big park, and, it's world famous. And the trees, and yet you still got the apartment buildings and the hustle and the bustle and all the traffic and all of that. But I wanted to say a little bit about New York State. Oh, and the place we're going to visit is called Earle Estate Meadery. So that'll be the third Meadery we visit in this video. There you go. This is New York State. And are you surprised by that? The beautiful rolling countryside, the beautiful hills in the distance, the green landscape. There's actually a lot of cow country in New York. I believe it's a dairy powerhouse, which you don't really realize. And here I was heading towards the Meadery. I was on a rainy day. I think this is the next day. When I stood in these motels, different motels on my trips, I usually stood a minimum of 2 days. Because then I have, a day of traveling and a day of adventuring out and seeing sights and seeing different things and driving around and checking out the landscape. And, but a minimum of 2 days. It was very rarely I only stood 1 day. But another thing about New York is, and I think I show a little bit of this, is there's actually quite a bit of wine country there too. It's almost like a Napa Valley of the East. Maybe it is called the Napa Valley of the East. And and later, in a further installment, we'll hit Napa Valley in my trip around America. But yeah, there's beautiful countryside, farms, cow dairies, vineyards, all kinds of stuff. So let's take a little bit more look more. So this is Earle Estates Meadery. And I'm trying to remember if they had their own beehives. I think they must. You know, a lot of these farms also have a relationship with, you know, bees because they need the pollination for their crops. But and the Earle Estate Meadery is another place. So that's the third Meadery. And so I just wanted to say a couple of things. Slow down, enjoy life. Things are not always what they seem to be. Like New York is not what we usually think of as New York. It's a lot different. If you've never tried mead, you can get some in various, you know, liquor stores and places like that. And give it a try. Have a European sensibility about mead and about wine, right? If you're already a wine connoisseur, then you probably understand what I'm saying. So that's this episode. I challenge you to look into mead. So here's just a little bit of the next episode. Next travel episode for the Sacred Lighthouse is where we will, you know, visit some New England castles. Look at that. I love this one. Couldn't go in. It's private. But this one's very Harry Potter. Thanks for listening. And watching.